All right, welcome everybody to the Hump Day Hangouts, where we get it working the second time. Thanks for joining us. Today is the first day of November 2023, and this is episode number 468. Just want to say real quick, if you are new to Semantic Mastery, we appreciate you joining and watching, whether you're watching us live or you're catching the replay. If you are new and you want to grab, we've got a little bit of a welcome gift for you, if you will. Some tools we've created. We've bundled them all together, and you can grab them at semanticmastery.com/toolkit. semanticmastery.com/toolkit. You can go there, grab them for free, and put them to use. So other than that, I'm going to say hi to the guys real quick, and then I think we got a couple announcements, and then we're going to jump into your questions. So Chris, how you doing today?
Being super good here. Actually, it was super sunny as well here today. Only thing, it's getting cold. And I also saw a couple people the other day, like with the Christmas trees already. I mean, like it's November, so 2 months left in the year. So better gear up and finish the year strong. That's what I would say.
Definitely. Nice. All right. Well, Bradley, how about you? How are things going with you? You got the fast connection still, right?
Yeah, for today's the last day.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean that's not true. I got Starlink and I got all my equipment now, but I'm going back to my RV tomorrow. And so over the weekend I'm going to try to get that installed. So hopefully by Monday I'll be back on a normal connection, even when I'm not in this, a stationary place again. But anyway, I'm still moving. Like today's been very challenging because I've been kind of in between calls and things like that. I go pack some more.
Yeah.
And then I got another call coming up. So I sit down and try to get back into work again. And it's been shitty. And as soon as we get done with this today, like one of the last, I've got like 95% of everything packed up. And so I got this computer desk, a coffee machine, and a microwave. And as soon as this is all done, I got to break everything down and get it out because tonight's the last night. So I got to get everything out. So I'll probably end up working another 3 or 4 hours and just packing tonight. But I'm close, so excited to get the hell out of here and start the next chapter.
So where are you sleeping tonight?
My folks' house. They live in town, so I'm gonna go stay over their house tonight. So, but yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it, man. It's been a long time coming. I'm looking forward to kind of starting my new chapter, and it's just temporary. I'm going to be staying in your RV while I get this property developed, and then once that's done, I'll be moving to another location to do it again. So it's been challenging for sure, but you adapt, you know what I mean, out of necessity. So
definitely. Well, speaking of Bradley, he had a webinar on Monday. So Bradley and Jeremy from Press Advantage were talking about press releases and kind of how the game's changing for local SEO, and how the PR landscape in general is changing. And so Jeremy was kind of sharing what that means, and kind of what's going on there. So we do have the replay up. I believe with Press Advantage, there is an offer available for that if you're interested in taking advantage of that, but it's only good until midnight Thursday. So if you're watching the replay, it might be too late, but if you're watching live, you got basically a day and 8 hours to take advantage of that. So I'll post the replay if you want to check that out, just for the information, or if you want to take Jeremy up on one of his, I think he had 2 great offers that go in there. So I'll pop that in there real quick. Besides that, guys, anything else we want to cover before we jump into questions?
No, I think I'm good to go, man. Maybe we get through questions quick enough, we can wrap it early today. Because
I'd say, yeah, well, let's get going. Bradley's got a pack, so I will just put in a quick one. If you're ready to join the mastermind, or you want to take your local SEO agency or consulting up to the next level, find out more, come take a look if it's a fit for you at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Got all the details on the page there. I assume you're capable of checking it out and seeing if it's a good fit. If you have any questions, just pop into Hump Day Hangouts. Let us know. Happy to answer them. Cool. Let's do it.
We got a few. So let me grab the screen. All right. Sorry. Let me zoom in a little bit. We'll be good to go. All right, the first one is from Danny. It says, hey, Bradley, what Chrome extensions would you recommend for SEO? Thank you for all the value. We will be joining the mastermind and using you as a white label in about 2 weeks. Awesome, Danny. That's cool. So no sweat at all. Anytime we're here. there's so many. I don't know which ones to start with. I use probably the ones that I use the most are probably the SEO extension, SEO Pro extension. That's this one here, which is if you just go search for SEO Pro extension, I like to use that one. I think you use Link Go for a lot. No follow for external links. Plepper for Google Maps stuff. I don't know. There's just a bunch of them that I use. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a loaded question. There's a bunch of them that I use. It depends on what it is you need them for. For SEO, I mean, I keep it pretty simple because I don't use a lot of the extensions for that stuff. I just analyze backlink profiles. I do a lot of manual audit stuff for clients and things like that. So mostly the SEO Pro extension, and I like to just look at the header codes, like the HTML codes. Also to determine if what the meta robots directives are, like index, comma, follow, or whatever, the canonical things like that. So here, let me just kind of demonstrate. If we just go let's just look at semantic mastery, I guess. Oh, great. Let's go here instead. So that's this SEO Pro extension here, and this just gives me some basic data. I can find the sitemap sometimes. Sometimes that's not correct. The robots.txt file. So when I do a lot of audits, I do a lot of audits, and so I use this quite a bit to check to see if I can determine if there's problems with indexing, make sure their meta robots directives are appropriate, that kind of stuff. Canonicals, I oftentimes find troubles with that kind of stuff. Look at headings, statuses, etc. Schema, it's not really an extension. This will show schema though on using the SEO Pro extension. It will show you what schema is showing on that page, so you can test that way. So I like to use this one. No follow for external links. I like that one. So highlight no follow links. That's this one. I don't know what it's called exactly. Just no follow. It's just called no follow. I like that one. That's a simple one. So, and then like for Google Maps stuff, the Plepper tools extension, that's good because it, shows you Google categories and things like that. So those are pretty much the main ones that I use. Okay. I don't use a lot of extensions for this stuff. Because I do a lot of it manually, submitting them Bright Local. I use that a lot. Majestic is, my favorite backlink analysis application. I use Search Console data a lot. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, moving on. Gregory says, hey, I need your help to answer 2 quick questions. I believe your preference is to rebuild niche relevant aged expired domains and link back to your money site. But if I wanted to just 301 redirect it to my money site for an easy SEO boost, should I use just one to a site? Or can I use several 301 redirected domains to the same money site without causing a problem with Google? I get this question often, Gregory, and I always respond the same way. I do not like to do a bunch of redirects to the money site. I think that raises a red flag. It's, I know a lot of people that do it. You can do it. I don't do it. I prefer to either, if I'm going to do a redirect, which I don't do very many of those, I'm going to redirect to a branded tier 1 asset. That makes sense, like an ID page or something like that, right? Instead of direct to the money site. Hopefully that's clear. And it's because, I just don't like to build a bunch of redirects to the money site. I think it's a red flag. So I always would either prefer to build, look, if you find a domain that's relevant, don't just buy domains based on pure metrics and then redirect them, guys. That's not helpful. It's not. If the backlink profile is relevant to what you're going to be redirecting the domain to, then fine, you can do a redirect. But if you just keep in mind that, if you have a backlink profile that is relevant to a particular topical category, why not build that site out? Right now, you've got another asset that you can use to link to not only your original target, but to others as well that would be in the same niche or industry or topic. Right. So I don't understand why. I get it. It's probably and I'm not picking on you, Gregory. It's probably a speed to deploy type thing. Like I could call it lazy. It could be a lazy thing. And I'm just joking, Gregory. But I know that's a lot of people just want to, as you said, a quick boost. I want a quick boost. Yeah. But again, my point is, why not build that domain out and put a topic clustered blog on it. And now you've got an asset that you can use to link to more than just one target. And it's relevant. You can build more topical relevance through the domain that you build because you can add more, topic coverage, etc. So look, in my opinion, guys, why not build out your own assets? If you're going to buy the domains, you're halfway there. So just build it out. But yeah, to answer your question, can you just redirect it? Yes, you can. I don't like to do it. If I'm going to redirect, I'm going to do it to a branded tier 1 asset that is then linking to my site. So that's one way you can do it. Press releases, that's another good one. You could redirect to the Press Advantage or whatever service you're using. In the semantic mastery world, we use the Press Advantage. So we have an organization page, which is great to do a redirect to something like that, or an ID page, as I already mentioned. Those are two like really good ones because they're essentially entity or iframe stacks, right? So those are really good ones to do that with. If you have a G site with a G stack and a G sheet embedded into it, that's another one that you could redirect to. Those are all good, but you could also do it to a single press release, for example, right? Like again, with Press Advantage, we can have do follow links in the press releases that are published on the Press Advantage domain. So you could take one particular press release and do a redirect to that instead of direct to the money site. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't like to do redirects to the money site. Okay. And if more than one is safe to use, should I use the money site homepage URL for all redirects or use different web pages for each one? Again, there's some more analysis that would be required before I can answer that. Like number one is, what does your current distribution look like across your site? I do a lot of audits for clients and for people that buy audits. And I want the last point of the audit. There's 21 points in the audit. The very last point, so point 21 is distribution, link distribution. And that is very rarely do I see good distribution. It's usually like the homepage is freaking hammered with backlinks and all internal pages have basically none. Or, I mean, very, very few backlinks. But the homepage is just loaded up with backlinks. Look, it's normal, guys, for the homepage to have more backlinks than any other page on the site. That's typical. It's normal. But why hammer the homepage with backlinks all the time when there's other, pages on the site, right? You should be building links, in my opinion. You should be distributing links more evenly across the site. I'm not saying you distribute them evenly. I'm saying just, distribute links more evenly across internal pages. Depending on how you have your site structured, there are specific pages that can, when you hit them with links, can power up other pages, right? So that's where I talk about like different kind of internal linking structures, the bottom up approach or top down approach. If you're doing a top down approach, anytime you hit a particular page with backlinks, it will flow through all of the subordinate pages, which is, again, it's a more efficient way to build links, etc. So I'm not, typically that's the homepage isn't going to be the best place for that. You can hit the home and maybe somebody's going to say, well, that's where the main navigation menu is. That's where all my key pages are. So isn't that the same thing? Yeah. But what about hitting individual pages? And then like, for example, if you have silo structure and you have categories and subcategories, you can hit category pages and it will flow through to the subcategory pages. There's just a number of things that you can do. And I don't think hitting the homepage all the time is the best, right? You can find other places to inject relevance and link equity that will create or promote buoyancy. Buoyancy is a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So if you can hit the site in key places with relevance, link equity, etc., then it's going to help the entire site to perform better. So the homepage is not always the best target. That's where I see most people always build links to, but I would encourage you to look at other pages on the site. And then that goes back to the domains that you, and based on your question, want to redirect instead of building out, which again, I recommend you build out. But if you're going to redirect them, like what was the topical category of the domain that you're redirecting? Would it be more appropriate and relevant to point it to another page on the site that's more specific? Do you understand? So you have to understand what does the backlink profile look like for the domain that you're considering redirecting? What was the former content of that domain, right? Here's the thing, guys. If Google is now discrediting links or devaluing links for lack of relevance, if on one side of the spectrum there is a link with zero relevance and Google ignores it, And on the other side of the spectrum, there is 100% relevance matching from the target URL to the referring page to the referring domain. And there's a relevance match at all levels. And the backlink profile of the referring domain is relevant too. Now you're talking about like 4 layers of relevance. Okay. And that Google gives that link 100% credit. So as I've said before, 0% relevance, Google ignores. 100% relevance, Google gives full credit. But there's varying degrees of relevance between either side of that spectrum, right? And so the point that I'm trying to make here is if you're trying to if you want to be the most relevant, you want to look at the profile of the domains that you're considering to purchase or using or whatever, and look at what was the former content, what does the backlink profile look like? Because here's the thing, guys, I've heard about this for years, and I don't know because I don't buy domains and then repopulate or I don't buy domains based on metrics alone and then put new content in categories that aren't relevant to what it was before. But I've heard in the past people say that if you buy a domain that has backlink profile that's already expired, meaning it went through the auction process and it's already expired, Google resets those backlinks. It doesn't pay attention. I've heard many people say that in the SEO industry. Well, I found that to be exactly that may be true if you're buying a domain based on metrics and then you put a new blog on it with multiple topical categories, etc., because you purchased the domain based on metrics and not what the topical relevance of the domain was, then it makes sense when you republish that domain and Google index it, it resets all those links, like the backlinks. It basically ignores them, because if the backlinks pointing to the domain aren't relevant, then Google's going to ignore the links. So if you're buying a domain based purely on metrics and then you're going to put new content in new categories that the domain wasn't based on before, and the backlinks pointing to that domain aren't going to be relevant to that category anymore, then it makes sense that Google would reset it and basically ignore the backlink profile because they're not relevant, right? So that's why I'm saying in semantic links, I've not experienced that at all, because we are hunting down domains with relevance. And then when we republish the domains or put new content on them, it's in the same topical category, which means the backlink profile, which that is a significant part of our analysis, is looking at the backlink profile of a prospective domain that we might purchase to use. And if the backlink profile is in a particular topical category, at least primarily in a particular topical category, then when we publish new content onto that site, it's still going to be in the same topical category. Those links are going to remain valid because they're still relevant to what it's linking to. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm saying, again, if you're looking at potentially redirecting domains to your site, which I don't recommend, but if you're going to do it anyway, then analyze the domain and the one that you're considering to redirect. Look at the Wayback Machine, archive.org. What was the content on the site the last time it was published? What is the backlink profile? Use a tool like Majestic that has a measure of relevance from the external backlink profile, not just third-party metrics. Does that make sense? Apparently, and I've not even looked into this, and I have SEMrush, and I just haven't even looked into it, but one of my link building clients told me that SEMrush has a measure of topical relevance now too. And for backlinks, I've not looked at it. I do have a SEMrush account, so at some point I'll take a look at that. But I'm particular to Majestic. Majestic, by the way, was so far ahead of their time. They had Majestic topical trust flow was a metric that Majestic came up with many years ago, long before that was really even important. So, like for the algorithm at least, and so they were way ahead of their time on that, in my opinion. Anyway, hopefully that's clear. I don't recommend redirecting though. Just build the domain out, man. Now you've got another asset that you can do a lot more with than just redirecting to one page on your site. Hopefully that's clear. Next question. I believe that you've decided not to create and rent GMBs any longer because of the uncertainty of the longevity of keeping them ranked. But if I wanted to set up a brand new Google business profile to rent the phone calls, can I use a forwarding phone number as the main and only business phone number without any problems from Google? Yeah, that's what we've been doing in the lead gen business forever. So yes, you can do that. No, you can use a virtual phone number. That's fine. And if they do need to find it listed, no, just a virtual phone number is fine. That's fine. That's not a problem at all. Okay. It's a good question, but no, it's not a problem. We've been using tracking phone numbers forever. And Google actually, when you run Google ads and you have the phone call extension or the call extension, Google creates a tracking phone number too. Like I know what you're saying about verifying the profile, et cetera, but yeah, having a redirect or a forwarding phone number is fine, because again, Google also understands that people want to be able to track so that they can attribute where leads are coming from and things like that. So tracking phone numbers are quite common. Okay. So yeah, you can use that just fine. All right, Lewis says, how important is blogging for a home service business? Should they be location optimized or category optimized? Thanks. That's a really good question. Okay, so blogging in and of itself isn't helpful. And I mean, just for the sake of blogging. But if you have now, don't get me wrong, for years, for my own local SEO agency, we would just blog away, and that's how we got results. But that's not really what works now. Having a content strategy so that you can develop topical coverage or the broadest topic coverage for the product and service categories that the business provides. Like, how can you become a topical authority in the local area about that industry, about the business's industry, the products and services, et cetera, that it sells or provides, offers, whatever. Hopefully that makes sense. So blogging with a strategy in mind, an actual game plan, like here's how do you do that, right? First of all, develop a topic map of how can I fully cover the topic, again, products or services or whatever. How can I cover this to where I have more, my local entity, my brand has more topical authority than any of the other local competitors. That's how you do it, right? So you can develop it out. You can go to ChatGPT and prompt it several times and figure out like topical map that way. That's a topical authority map or topical map. You can call it either one. But then start developing content. And then if you're blogging, then you can start to develop a content strategy around that map so that you can start to, basically develop content for each of the points in the topical map. Hopefully that's clear. And then interlinking, if there's got to be silo structure and all that. Now we're getting into the weeds of kind of like the technical nitty gritty of it, but blogging can be incredibly valuable when you have a strategy in place, is what I'm saying. Because over time, you will develop the topical authority that your competitors won't have. And so you will be the preferred result that Google will serve, if that makes sense, or your company, your business, et cetera. So blogging in and of itself, just for the activity, used to be effective. I don't think that's nearly as effective now, because you have to have a strategy that makes sense, or else you can actually, if you're just blogging and to just add content, you can actually cause cannibalization on site, right? If you try to cover the same kind of keyword or topic, and it's better to optimize for topics than keywords, but if you use the same kind of keyword in the SEO title across, even if it's a different, conversational type of title like a blog post typically has, if you're targeting the same basic keyword or variants of that keyword, and you've got multiple posts, now they could potentially cannibalize each other. So again, I don't recommend, and by the way, again, to be clear, guys, for years, that's all I did for my own local SEO agency, is we would just publish content like, 1 post, 2 posts, 3 posts per week on the blog that would syndicate out. And that was very, very effective. But remember, Google is trying to reduce bloat on sites, or it's trying to steer us away from just publishing content for the sake of publishing content. That again can lower site quality score. With the helpful content update, I've seen a lot of changes occurring in the last few weeks, for sure. And so I'm thinking, a lot of this has to do with, again, not adding content just for the sake of content. In the past, it was kind of like the freshness factor by just publishing content regularly on the site. That was like a ranking benefit. But now it can actually be detrimental, because you can have redundancy, bloat, cannibalization, a number of things. You have to have a strategy. And that's, that's beyond the scope of what we're going to talk about today. But should they be location optimized or category optimized? I say category or topic optimized. Category or topic optimized. Because if it's a local business, meaning if the website is associated with a local business that has a Google business profile, then you want the topic coverage, and the location is already implied because it's associated with a local business that has a location where you've defined within the appropriate location pages, the service area, etc. So optimize the posts for topic coverage, not for location. For the blog, I'm saying, if you have specific location pages, then you're going to want to optimize those for topic or category plus location. That's fine. But I'm talking about for the blog, you want to build topical authority. So I omit kind of the location optimization unless it's relevant. So for example, in a tree service business, if we're talking about tree care for Virginia trees, now you're talking about adding some location or geographic relevance to the topic because it's relevant to the state that the business is in. If it was a a tree service company in the state of Virginia, does that make sense? So I'm not talking about optimizing for tree care plus city, because then you'd have tree care plus city plus neighbor, all the different adjacent cities and all that. It's not necessary, right? Develop the blog to provide topical authority so that you have the broadest coverage about the products and services that company provides. The location, it should be implied through how it's associated, that the blog is associated with the business, and the business should be able to, define to Google through the location pages and the Google business profile, the location. Hopefully that makes sense. But, again, start with a strategy, and that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Lewis says also, could you please give an example of a page optimized for a topic or a category? Yeah, I mean, for an example, you could go to my Tree Care HQ, my local site, my directory site, local.treecarehq.com, and just look at the tree services page. That's not optimized for a particular location. It's optimized for the category, which is tree service. Does that make sense? That's not specifically a local site. It is, but it's a multi-location national site for multiple locations for kind of a lead gen thing. But that's just an example, like local.treecarehq.com. If you just go look at the top menu, there's a tree services page. That's a page optimized for the category, really. But really, the top level topic term is tree maintenance. There's a difference, guys. Google business categories, I talk about optimizing for the category when it's directly tied. The page that you want to optimize is directly tied to a Google business profile. It's what I call the location landing page, right? So the website URL linked to from the Google business profile as the main website. That's what I call the location landing page. If that should be optimized for the primary category or whatever, the location landing page should be optimized for the primary category, in my opinion. But all other pages on a site can be optimized for the top level pages should be optimized for the top level category, topic term. And in the tree service industry, that I discovered just within the last year is tree maintenance, right? And that would be this. And I've talked before about how to figure out these top level terms. So the top level topic term for tree service is this. Okay, but the top level Google business category, GBP category, is tree service. Hopefully that makes sense. So if I'm going to be optimizing a location landing page, so that's the website URL linked to from the Google business profile, then I'm going to optimize for this. If I'm optimizing an organic page only that's not directly tied to a Google business profile, I'm going to optimize for that. That makes sense. And that is just a combination of tree and maintenance to create tree maintenance, which has the broadest topic coverage. Interestingly enough, let me pause the screen for a minute. I want to bring this up. I just last Thursday in the mastermind webinar that from October 27th, I specifically covered this again on how to identify topics. This is the mastermind webinar replay. And during the process of going through that, because somebody asked about somebody was asking about how to, I've covered this bunches of times in the mastermind on how to identify topic terms. And it's going to take some trial and error in order to figure it out for whatever industry you need to find out for. It takes trial and error, but you can find it out, figure it out. And I showed how to do that. Again, I've showed this many, many times in our mastermind, but specifically, where's the comment? Wait a minute, stand by. I'm looking for the comment from, give me 1 second, guys. Son of a bitch. Where is it? I could have sworn I just saw. Sorry, guys. I was looking for a comment. I'm not seeing it now. I don't know what happened. I saw it earlier today. But anyway, I was going to show you guys there during the process of covering this this topic again, right? Which is how to identify topics. Sorry, let me resume share. This must be the old one. Yeah, this is from last year. Stand by. I have to find it now. So just give me a second, guys. Jarvis. Here it is. Sorry, I just had to find it. Okay, so this was from last week, October 26th, 2023. All right, so this is the mastermind webinar. I was talking about that again. And this is during the process, at some point, we got on the roofing. And somebody said something about roofer. And I said, all right, let's go to Wikipedia. And we go to Google and we start searching for keywords associated with roofing. And then you append Wikipedia to the search query. And I started pulling them up. So there's roof, roofer, roof, roofer, roofing. Those are 3 topic terms. And I had said, look, I have not tested this, but I can almost guarantee from what my testing in the tree service industry, tree and maintenance, to create tree maintenance as a topic has the broadest coverage, even more so than tree service, which is crazy because I've been in the tree service industry for almost 11 years now. And I just figured this out in the last year. All this time, I mean, of course, it was a different algorithm 2 or 3 years ago, so it might not have been important or effective then, but it certainly is now. Tree maintenance, I can rank that one search. If I optimize a page for tree maintenance as listed right here, I can rank that page for absolutely any search query associated with the tree service industry with one page, even if the keyword's not on the page. That is not a joke. And so I said that about the roof industry. I said, I bet you either roofer, which is its own Wikipedia entity, or roof maintenance, which is a combination of roof and maintenance, are going to have, I said, one of those two is going to have the broadest topic coverage. And so one of our members went and just did some showing how I've showed how to determine which has the broadest topic coverage. And sure enough, I was right. My assumption was correct. Roof maintenance had the broadest topic coverage. And again, that is a combination of Wikipedia entry for roof and one for maintenance combined together to create roof maintenance. And that has the broadest coverage, which is crazy because how many of you guys have done roofing SEO? And how many of you knew that? Right? I've got a roofing client and his entire site is optimized for keywords, not for topics and categories. And his site is massive. And I doubt very seriously if I'm going to overhaul that because I'm not in that industry anymore anyway. I still do SEO for him. He's been a long time client of mine. But why I'm bringing that up is because I see on his site, which again, that was effective 2-3 years ago. A year and a half ago, it was still effective. Now it's not as effective. You can still get results by optimizing for different pages for all different types of keywords and things like that. But you can reduce the amount of work and the amount of content needed, the amount of pages that needs to be indexed, everything else if you optimize for the topic or category instead. Okay. And so, like I said, I do audits for clients a lot. And I see, again, you can't know what you don't know. I'm not faulting anybody for this, but I'm saying I see, roof repair, a page for roof repair, a page for roof installation, one for roof replacement, one for roof inspection, one for shingle repair, which I've seen that could probably fall under asphalt or roof repair. But I've seen like these different service pages for each of these services when all of that falls under roof maintenance or roofer. Again, I've not tested this. You could test that. This is gold if you're in the roof industry, guys, or the roofing industry. Let me just demonstrate this, guys. I have to show this to you now because I love talking about this. And I can't tell you guys how many times I even really experienced SEOs have a very difficult time wrapping their head around this. Okay. But for example, you can see like roofer is a very broad term. That's why I said, I think I would have to do some testing and I'm not going to. I'm not in this industry. I've done my testing in the tree service industry. I'm still testing. Okay. But somebody that's in the roofing industry should test this, right? Roofer is very, very broad. I think either this or roof maintenance would have the best coverage, but it would require testing to determine that. But getting back to what I was saying, here's the roof Wikipedia entry, and then we're going to look for, which by the way, this is another good kind of demonstration that I can show guys, excuse me. Look at what repairs is in Wikipedia. Okay. Sorry, let me open it up. Repairs equals maintenance. Do you understand? According to Wikipedia, which Google trains its large language model in very large part through Wikipedia. So if repairs equals maintenance, and then we click on maintenance, but maintenance equals a lot more than just repair. Do you understand? So why I'm trying to say this, guys, is because, I mean, read the language, guys. That's why I keep saying, become familiar with the language of your industry. How do you do it? Select an industry and then start studying the language associated with the entities, the Wikipedia entries that are associated with that industry. Start studying these pages so that you can understand the language associated with different Wikipedia entries associated with the industry that you're in, and start figuring out combinations. Again, that's why I won't test this in roofing, because I do this in tree service and I'm still testing. I'm not kidding, months and months later. And it's because this requires a lot of work, guys. But here's the thing. As I just showed you guys, repairs equals maintenance, but maintenance equals functional checks, which means inspection. And inspection is listed down here somewhere else for sure. So checks and inspection are synonymous with each other. Servicing, repairing, or replacing of devices, equipment, machinery, building infrastructure, and supporting utilities in industrial, business, and residential installations. Do you guys see how maintenance is so freaking broad? Repairs equals maintenance, but maintenance equals so much more than repairs. So if you optimize, so again, going back to the roofing example, roofing contractor then has a roof repair, roof installation, roof replacement, roof inspection. They've got all these different pages on the site when they could optimize one page for roof maintenance, and boom, that one page can rank for every single search query associated with the roofing industry. Full stop. Because it's clearly stated right here on the maintenance page, and then go look at the roof, not roofer, but the roof Wikipedia entry. And you can see in here, it covers every aspect of roofs and different shingle types, different types of roofing structures, all of that stuff. So you're combining roof and all of the keywords associated with roof, and maintenance and all of the keywords associated with maintenance. You combine the two, and now any combination thereof, that page can rank for. Do you understand? Much more efficient way to optimize. And I'm not saying you can't still optimize a separate page for roof repair and everything. I wouldn't want to do it on the same site, but you can still do that, and you can still rank for roof repair and variants of roof repair if you do that. But why? If you have a roof maintenance page that can rank for roof installation, roof inspection, roof repair, roof replacement, all of those things, why not build one page and rank that instead for everything? That's my point. It's a much more efficient way. And think about that, guys. Think on Google, the resources that Google has to use in order to crawl a site that has a bunch of redundant content, a bunch of pages, when it can. Look, here's the thing. This is what people, I think SEOs have a hard time understanding, and I don't know why. But look, Google and the large language models, ChatGPT, Google's own language model, all of the others, they've scanned and indexed, and they have all of this in their memory, their cache, right? So if Google trained its large language model on Wikipedia, at least one of the many databases that it trained its large language model on, then Google has cached these pages. Google knows every single word that's on these pages. So when you combine roof and maintenance to create a topic, roof maintenance, or a category, like, again, I think the category for roofer is roofer. And that, again, that's very, very broad, very broad. You read through here and you'll see, again, roofers replace, repair, and install the roofs of buildings. See what I'm saying? So do you need to have a page for roof, roof repair, roof replacement, all that? You could have a page for roofer. It's already covered. All of those are covered. You understand, a roofer is synonymous with roofing contractor. It says so right here. So that's my point, guys. It's like, start studying the language. We're in a different environment. So if you can understand the language, look, the large language models, pick one of them. They all know language better than we do now as humans, like for real. So we should become students of the language associated with the industries that we're working in, so that we know how to best optimize in this new environment. Is that clear? Hopefully that was helpful, guys. Went down a rabbit hole on that one again, but that question comes up a dozen times. Lewis, I believe it was. Yeah, Lewis, that comes up all the time. I've answered that question dozens and dozens of times already, and I'm sure I'll answer it dozens and dozens more times. I'm not mad at you. I understand this is hard concept for people that have done SEO for any length of time, that have been brought up in the keyword world. Like, we can still do that. I was talking with one of our mastermind members today about that, and she said, well, do we have to go back and change all of our existing sites? No, if they're performing, leave them. Google didn't pull the rug out from keyword optimization because it would have created havoc across the web. A lot of the updates, I mean, Google's been steady rolling out update after update after update in the last few months, though. Have you guys noticed? There's a lot of changes going on with SGE, with AI, with all of that stuff, a lot of changes. So what I'm saying is, what do you guys, based on what I just described, think is the more logical way that you should be optimizing? Stuck in keyword mode, which is so 3 years ago, or optimizing for topics and categories so that it's a more efficient build and you're playing now in the kind of more current algorithmic environment? What do you think is going to be the better way forward? That's kind of, I think it's pretty apparent in my opinion, right? So take the time to learn these things. Test with it. I can't do it for you guys. I can't. I wish I could. I'm still testing in the tree service industry these kind of concepts. And I'm getting better and better, but I'm not going to do this across multiple industries because it's too much damn work. Seriously. I have no desire to do it in other industries. I'm curious, but I don't have the bandwidth to do it. So I keep telling you guys to pick one industry because it's going to require, but here's the thing. If you go through this kind of exercise and put in the work, you will have an edge over 99% of the other SEOs in that industry, because most people aren't willing to do this, or most SEOs are Me Too SEOs that will work with any business that will look in their direction, right? So if you get really good at one freaking industry and you learn what performs best based in this new algorithmic environment, then you will have an edge over all of the other competitors that are also doing SEO in roofing or whatever industry you're in. So that's why I'm saying the juice is worth the squeeze, in my opinion, for this, right? Put the work in, put the study in, do testing. I've talked about this in the mastermind. Go out and buy multiple domains that then you can go in and test different configurations, different topic terms, combinations of Wikipedia entries, and test different configurations of SEO title, SEO title H1 and first H2. Swap around, test Google business category, top level topic terms, etc., and changing the orders around. And do that on multiple different domains in a very low competition area, like very low competition area, and target the same location across multiple domains so that you can test different configurations. We're not talking about ranking on page one. That's not important. Test these different configurations on multiple domains with similarly optimized pages, and then send them all to an indexer and put them into a rank tracker and leave them alone. Don't build links to them. Don't do anything. Just track and see, okay, this one site is now the top performer. It doesn't matter where it ranks. I don't care if it ranks on page 10. If the other pages rank on the other domains rank on page 11, page 12, that this one configuration seems to be performing better. Duplicate it. Find another location. You can use the same domains, by the way, so you don't have to keep buying new domains. You can use the same domains, delete them, clear them, and then try it again in another location, another very low competition area where you're doing keyword category or topic plus location modifier across multiple domains, but testing different configurations of combined Wikipedia entries, right? You start testing that and just monitoring the results. That's why I'm saying it takes time. I wish I could give you guys an easier way to do this, but I don't know of an easier way to do it. In SEO, you have to test. You have to. And if you try to do this across multiple industries, I don't know who the hell has that kind of time to do it. I'm still testing this kind of stuff in the SEO or the tree service industry. A year later, I'm still doing tests like this. We just talked about it today on our Build with Bradley group, right? But you can do that, guys, by testing with domains, different domains, similarly optimized content. You don't need to go thorough into this, guys. I'm talking about SEO title and a couple of paragraphs, 3 or 4 paragraphs of relevant content on the page, and that's it. You're not looking to rank these, guys. You're just looking to see which one ranks the highest, no matter where it ranks. It doesn't matter. out of these different configurations. You track that. Okay, this one seems to be the winner. Let me delete all that stuff and do it again and test the configuration. And again, you just like split testing with advertising, right? With ads. You try to beat the control. You figure out which one performs the best, and that your goal is to beat the control. Like that's your sole purpose in life, is to test different configurations and see, is this one truly the winner? Or is there other configurations that are going to perform better? And if you can duplicate that multiple times, now you have your answer. Hey, I just stumbled upon the structure, the appropriate terms, etc., that now I know ranks better than the other ones. And now you can start to scale that out by duplicating that across all the projects in that industry that you do. That's why I said trying to do this across 5 industries or however many is just, in my opinion, it's not possible. Not for one person anyway. Anyway, hopefully that's clear, guys. I went really deep into that question, but we get that so many times now. So I'm going to keep reinforcing that as much as possible till you guys get it. And I'm not saying you, Lewis, but for everybody to understand it. I understand it's hard to grasp. But by the way, guys, test with it. Besides what I just said, just test with it and you'll see. It's crazy. It's a different environment. It's a lot different now than it was even a year and a half ago. All right, moving on. A land flipping question. I'll keep this one brief because we do have a few more SEO questions, guys, and I need to go at 5 p.m. Land flipping. To sell my large piece of land under contract, I have sent out emails to realtors who recently sold land in the same area, as suggested in one of your previous calls. My line of thought is that they might have good contacts on bigger investors. Yeah, possibly. But while I'm waiting for the answers apart from Facebook Marketplace, Brokerless, and Zillow, is there some specific strategy that might come in handy when selling land most suited for developers? Is it a good idea to combine the help of a realtor with the use of the platforms above? I mean, if you're going to be targeting builders or developers, excuse me, you might want to just look for, maybe do some outreach to developers and, introduce yourself. And that way you start to develop a relationship with some developers that, develop in the area that you're buying and selling land. And that's always good especially if you're going to find large tracts of land or potentially find large tracts of land, then it would make sense if you had direct communication with developers or, their purchasing agent or whatever, so that you could, whenever you got a new property under contract, you could send them the information before even ever having to go on Zillow or Facebook Marketplace. That's what your realtors call those pocket listings. But, essentially like building a buyer's list, let's put it that way. A developer can be a buyer, right? So building your own buyer's list, that's why I've always recommended that you farm a particular area, because you can do things like that. If you're constantly targeting new counties, then it's hard to develop that. But when you are farming an area where, every quarter you send out to the same list again, then you can develop a relationship with buyers. You can find people, residential, like homeowners that are looking to purchase land in that area, and you can start to build a buyer's list so that every time you get a new property under contract in that area, you can send an email blast out to your buyer's list and you can get it sold before ever having to market it, right? Developers can be on a buyer's list. Builders can be on a buyer. Like, think about custom home builders, right? Custom home builders that don't like developers go in and develop a large piece of land and build neighborhoods. But what about custom developers that build one-off houses on people's property, right? A lot of custom home builders do what they call spec homes, and spec homes are where they build a home without a lot of custom home builders build homes because a person buys a piece of property and then they contract the home builder to come build the home. But home builders often will also build spec homes where they buy the land and they build a home on it and then put the home on the market just to sell to to a retail buyer. So that's, they call them spec homes, but you can do that too. So the point is you can build a buyer's list. And that's again, more reason to farm a particular area. Okay. I didn't like to use realtors to find buyers. I would do brokerless, which is a buyer's agent would come to me and say, hey, I've got a buyer that's interested. I did not like to use realtors in selling properties. I only like to use the MLS to have realtors bring buyers to me, if that makes sense. Anyway, hopefully that's clear. I got to move on. Also, don't forget neighbor letters. remember to contact the neighbors. You can find through the tax records the property owners of all adjacent parcels and even parcels that are nearby. But I found that adjacent parcels work really well. Extract their information and send them letters. Hey, I got this property available. I figured it was only fair to give you the first choice before I put it on the public market. Since you're it's adjacent property to your property, it might make sense for you to. I wanted to offer it to you first. Some kind of language like that before we advertise it publicly or market it publicly. We wanted to give you as an adjacent landowner the opportunity to purchase it. If you're interested, call us or whatever. Does that make sense? Build a buyer's list, though. That's a good thing to do. You can get properties sold without even having to put them on the market. All right, next, Greg says, I will be starting a new YouTube channel and adding 2 to 3 videos per month. I have an 8-year-old YouTube channel that I could use that has 3 videos and 60,000 views. Channel has no views during the last 2 years and 200 stale subscribers, but it is in the same identical entertainment style niche. Should I start a brand new YouTube channel with a better name or use existing channel? That's a good question. I mean, I would think that the older channel could, if as long as it's in the same category, like the content, because that's how YouTube, the algorithm is really about watch time and triggering kind of like a channel gets known for, like, in other words, multi-topic channels typically don't perform nearly as well. I went through the Channel Jumpstart program, Daryl Eves coaching program. Is really good, very thorough. And I learned a lot about that. But he's more on the content, like production side of he teaches you how to trigger the algorithm and everything else. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is multi-topic channels typically don't perform very well. Channels that are very focused on a particular topic tend to perform a lot better. So as long as it's in the same category, I would think you'd be better off using the older. I mean, I would assume, I don't know without testing, but I would assume that the older channel would probably start gaining traction faster because it is aged a bit, but I don't know that to be true. So I guess potentially you could always try publishing content to both channels and see if one starts to take off more than the other. My assumption would be the age channel would perform better, but you wouldn't know without testing. This is SEO, guys, so it's hard to give absolute answers about anything. You have to test everything, right? We can give you answers that have shown results in the past, but if it applies to a different topic or a different industry and things like that, it needs to be tested before you can say with certainty, right? All the stuff I talk about in the tree service industry, guys, I'm still testing over there. I don't know how it will apply to the others. It should, theoretically, it should work the same across all industries as far as optimizing categories and topics, things like that. But and it should, but I don't know because I don't test in the other industries. So that's why I keep telling members of our mastermind members, guys, you have to go through this exercise and figure it out. I can give you my assumptions are what are going to perform best, but you won't know for sure until you test. And it's worth it, in my opinion, because you will outperform everyone else in the industry if you do these things that they're not willing to do. And it might not be that they're not willing, but they probably just don't know. But even those that do know, I know this to be a fact, because even those that do know usually aren't willing to do it. And so, it gives you an edge if you just do it. Joshua says, hey, Bradley, you said in an older video that you used another vendor when you started your link business. Which vendor would you use if you want to initially start topical link service, but don't have budget yet for getting my own good high DR domain and putting content on them? Okay. So Joshua, just to clarify, I don't use DR as a metric anyway. I really don't care about that. I care if it's relevant first. If you can find relevant domains, then you can use DR as a secondary metric. But when somebody asks me a question about relevancy from links, and then they squeeze DR into there, they're all, in my opinion, are already thinking of the wrong thing. And I'm not picking on you, Joshua. I'm just saying that because I think it should be based on relevance first and foremost. DR is a secondary metric. But how do you, which vendor would you use if you want to initially start topical link service, but don't have a budget yet? Well, I'm going to tell you me, because I tested, and I'm not kidding. I'm not saying that for any other reason other than I was unable to find anybody else that could provide links that are as relevant as the links that we provided Semantic Links. And that's not a joke. I'm not saying that, guys, because I just want to funnel more business to me. I'm being 100% honest here. Like that is why I started a link building business. I promise you, if I had found a link source that could provide links as relevant as what I do at Semantic Links, I would have not have started a link building business. Full stop. I had no desire to start a link building business. And then I discovered this method, tested with it, as I've been talking a lot about today, testing. I tested with it and it fucking worked. And there was nobody out there that offered that. So I started a business around it. I had no desire to start a link building business, just so you guys know. But I found through testing a method that worked incredibly well and nobody else offered it. So I started offering it. And I'm glad I did, but I don't know of anybody to this day that still does. I mean, I know of some vendors that I used that said that they sold topically relevant links, and to a degree, they were more relevant than a lot of the other link providers, but they still weren't fully relevant. I provide 100% relevance matching, or as close to 100% relevance matching as I can possibly get. Sometimes there might be some slight loss of relevance, but they're very, very relevant. So Joshua, you can use my links. If you're going to do a lot of volume, contact me. I mean, you got to start slow, but if you're a volume buyer, you could potentially arbitrage my links. I got was on a Semantic Links call, a sales call with a female it was last week. Sorry. Anyway, she was talking about how she does SEO work, and she's on Upwork a lot, and she picks up a lot of jobs on Upwork because of people that are posting for needing SEO help. So she does a lot of work on Upwork as an SEO provider by just looking for people that are posting jobs, and then she communicates with them. And so she came to me and said, look, I want to arbitrage your services. I said, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Just go. I mean, again, because she doesn't need to fulfill. All she needs to do is have a communication, develop the communication to contact people that are posting jobs on Upwork that need help. And then so she's got a system that she's good at communicating with them and offering her services and enclosing them on hiring her. But she doesn't want to do the fulfillment. And I said, that's beautiful, because then it's your job just to manage the SEO work that you're white labeling through somebody else, Semantic Links, for example. And then she's just making money by marking that up, by managing it, knowing what to do, and then marking that up. So that's a good way to do it, right? It's arbitrage. I think that's a great strategy, right? Use somebody else's service that has a good service and mark it up and sell it. Then you can focus on generating revenue instead of the technical fulfillment, right? Make money first. Toby says, what happens to your backlinks when you retitle top-level pages to follow the recommended title format? Nothing. Did it change the URL, Toby? And I'm not picking on you, Toby. If it didn't change the URL, you're changing the title. That's not changing the URL. So that means the links that are pointing to that URL remain intact. That didn't change. The URL didn't change. Even if you changed the URL, you could always set up a redirect from the old new URL to the old URL to the new URL. Therefore, any links pointing to the old URL are still going to be redirected to the new URL, right? Toby is not an SEO. He's a business owner. So I know why he's asking this. But yeah, Toby, when you retitle a page, it does not change the URL. So that doesn't have any effect on it. Jack says, hey guys, do you have SOPs that cover InLinks, internal linking in the mastermind? Yeah, we just had a Build with Bradley group meeting an hour ago, or 2 hours ago now. And I was just talking about that again. Yeah, I talk about internal linking, silo link, internal linking, silo structure, etc. All that's in the mastermind. Do we have a list of SOPs included? No, but Adam, that would be good to add to the sales page, the mastermind sales page, a list of SOPs. Two more guys, and then we'll wrap it up. Jennifer says, have you flipped land to a developer? I have not. I just flipped to I flipped to a few custom home builders, but not to developers. I never had a big enough parcel for that. Yeah, from what I understand, if you're flipping land to developers, you're going to have extended closing dates so that they can get their engineering and permits and stuff before actually committing to the purchase, meaning closing. So as long as you can work that out with your seller, right? If you're the contract owner, so you have to make sure that you have the time to close budgeted to allow that kind of what they call feasibility study work, right? So as long as you can make that arrangement with your seller to give them that time, then yeah, it's just, that's normal in development. Did you use a realtor to sell your land? No. If not, how do you market the contract? Zillow, broker lists, so MLS insertion without needing a listing agent, Facebook Marketplace, neighbors, so neighbor letter campaigns, and then also building a buyer's list. If you work in the same county before, do you send the neutral? Yes. The neutral letter, yes. And do you resend the offer letter to the people who didn't respond initially? Yes. Again, like once you find a county that produces good responses and also is fairly easy to do the study work as far as tax records and things like that, and find comparable sales and all that kind of stuff for valuation and all that, then what I would recommend is mailing to that same list once per quarter. So 4 times per year. Because every time you mail it, you'll get more responses. Okay. And yes, the neutral letter is the same one I used every time. Last one, Paul Ashley says, digging the topical authority content. I'm currently testing the Google category electrical installation service for an electrical contractor, but that's not the category. I guarantee you that's not the category. Sorry, Paul, I'm not picking on you, man, but I promise you that is not the category. The category would be this. There's a difference, guys. This is a keyword. This is a category. Do you understand? For an electrical contractor as opposed to just electrician. Is that an actual category, electrical installation service? In fact, stand by. And I got to go, guys. I should have already wrapped this, but I'm going to look this up. I can't help it. Give me a second. I'm looking for my Google business category list, which I thought I had open. Here we go. Let's see. Go to find. Maybe if I spell it properly. Shit. All right, try that. Electrical equipment, electrical installation service. Sure enough. Okay, good. That's a category. And what did I say? If I copy that and paste this, that's the category, not this. There is that, and it's a nuanced difference, guys. I understand, but it makes all the difference in the world. Okay. All right. So back to the question. My thinking is a company name is not an electrician, and the electrical contracting company. Company name is not an electrician. An electrical contractor company installs EV charging, surge protectors, generators, etc. Changing how I approach this by your channel. What are your thoughts about this? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You'd have to test. I don't know. Is not an electrician and electrical. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know, Paul. You'd have to test. It's you know, you'd have to test with that. You could have the primary category as an electrician to see how it performs for those search queries, and then you could swap it. You have electrical installation services an additional category, and then see how it performs. Guys, Google business category changes will produce a ranking change, either positive or negative, depending on whether it was an appropriate change or not, but within a matter of days. Like, no kidding. It's not like an indexing issue with organic changes. With the Google business categories, like if you change the category, you can see like an immediate change in ranking positions and maps from that. I just demonstrated this again on our call today for the Build with Bradley group, part of the mastermind. I demonstrated a painting contractor who's still a client of mine, who we did that exact same thing. And on Friday, I ran the local search grid report for what it currently was. I made a Google business category change, the primary category. And on Monday, I reran the local search grid report, and it had shot up over the weekend across the board. Every single keyword shot up significantly. And it was just by changing the Google business category. And it was between Friday and Monday, the changes occurred, like across maps. And it was, I showed it on the map, the call, like the local search grid report. So the data is there. So what I would recommend is you go on and you have electrician as the primary category, electrical installation services, secondary or additional category. Monitor the results, local search grid, keyword, etc. Right? Then go in and swap it, change the order. Electrical installation services, primary, and electrician is secondary or additional category. Same keywords, don't change anything. Give it a couple of days, rerun the local search grid report. And you should be able to determine from that alone what is the appropriate category to optimize for. Okay, hopefully that's clear. I'm over by 6 minutes. I got to go. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking around, Adam.